I'm heading to Cabo this weekend, recording a little early in the week. Got my office on the beach hat, bought it randomly. Need to block the sun. Got way too much sun. Big Ben's out today, so this could be a quick one, probably around 15 minutes, unless I get on a heater. And remember, you never walk away from a heater. Home Alone was a popular movie that Macaulay Culkin starred in. Today, I'm podcasting alone because Big Ben is out on paternity leave. Congratulations, Big Ben. And it looks like Steph Curry is playing alone in crunch time minutes for the Golden State Warriors. We're about halfway through the season, and the Warriors are exactly who we thought they were, a play-in team. Let's be honest. Let's take a look here. Their ceiling is probably an 8 seed. Their floor is not getting to the playoffs or getting to the play-in game and not coming through. Just like last year, just like a couple years ago. Same. New faces, same team. New personnel, same outcome. How do the Warriors score in non-Steph Curry minutes? How do the Warriors find a number 2 scoring option to score if Curry has an off game down the stretch? Or if maybe a lot of the attention goes to him? What do? And how can they maximize his superstar prime? That's what we're all wondering here. Take a look back at last year, the Kings series, the young upstart Kings. Not like this year where they're struggling, new personnel. But if we remember that game, Steph was brilliant. He's always brilliant against the Kings. He played well. He didn't get very much help from Clay or Wiggins or Draymond or Moody or anyone else. They really haven't developed any of their draft picks. Their personnel in the non-championship years really hasn't risen to the top to help Curry in clutch minutes or to help Curry when he's on the bench. So let's take a look at Jonathan Kuminga. They had an opportunity to sign him before the year. They didn't sign him. They wanted to see how it played out. It was a little up and down, but he's played great lately. He's had a couple 30-point games. His rebounding's up, which has been a very big concern of Steve Kerr. He's playing at a high level, but he goes down with an injury. He's out 3 weeks. Yes, that's 3 weeks. The trade deadline is about 30 days away. His name has been mentioned as a possible trade candidate to bring a second option, a second superstar, a wing, a big man, you name it. The Warriors are looking to address this offense and address the situation that they're currently in. But he's out, so we can't worry about Kuminga, at least for 3 weeks. So what's up now as the Warriors keep dropping down in the standings? Wiggins, he's your third best scorer right now in terms of points per game. Can't trust him. Can't trust him. And then we've got Buddy Hield. Started out fast. Started out, we don't need Clay. We got Buddy buckets. Buddy came back to reality, just like the Warriors came back to reality. So I want to stop the Clay slander here and today. Let's go through some stats. Buddy versus Clay, Clay versus Buddy. We're going to take a look at last year. Clay coming off several injuries. An off year for Clay. This was an off year. It wasn't a great year, but Clay still averaged 17.9 points per game, 2 assists, 38% from 3, 50% from 2. Buddy, this year, he's averaging right around 12 points a game. I'm not a mathematician, but that's 5 less than Clay. 1.2 assists, about high 30, 38% from 3 like Clay, and 50% for 2. Clay averaged 3.8 threes last year, Buddy 2.8. But in his last 30 games, Buddy Buckets is averaging right around 10 points. He looks lost in the offense. He's turning the ball over. He's gotten ice cold like it's a Buffalo Bills playoff game. And we're talking about Clay last year, off-season Clay, off-career Clay versus Buddy this year. It's been a dramatic difference, and it's a reason why the Warriors are struggling. Now, I know you're saying, oh, well, Clay, we couldn't pay Clay. He's averaging 14 points in Dallas. Yeah, he's a third option. He's not getting enough looks. If he was the second option, maybe taking his minutes down a little bit. I think Clay was a better fit. I'm still upset that they let him go, but he's not the answer. Kuminga, we'll see if he's the answer. I think we have to go to the trade deadline. Before I get to the trade deadline, Kings, Pacers, and Sixers all see what we're seeing now. They all got rid of Buddy. It was him and De'Aaron in Sacramento. See ya. He was in Indiana. He was on the bench in Indiana. He was in Philly. He got hot. But then he got out. I think they still keep Buddy. I hope he comes back to life, but I don't think he can be trusted. I don't think Kuminga can be trusted either. And so we're going to go to the trade market. Thursday, February 6th. That is the big day, the NBA trade deadline. There's a lot of names out there. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to go through a high level. Got De'Aaron Fox from the Kings. He's had, 6, 7 coaches in his career? He's got to be looking to move. I don't think he's going to sign. The Warriors don't need him. I don't know why I'm talking about him. You got Zach LaVine, Washington native. He was up and coming he was with Minnesota. He was with Wiggins and Cat. Then he got moved to the Bulls. He's been injured a lot, scoring a lot, but I think his price tag is way too high. You've got Cam Johnson. I don't know enough about him. That's East Coast basketball. He can shoot it. He's a wing. Can he take it to the next level? I don't know. I don't see enough of him, so I can't really comment on him. Who else we've got? Kyle Kuzma? Nah. Let's pass. But I'm going to give you 3 names that I like. No order. Let's start with Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Butler. He's 35 years old. He's currently suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. He wants out. I think the Heat want him out, but they didn't want to say that because it brings down his leverage. People will give them bad offers like it was a fantasy football trade. I think they'll move Jimmy. Is he a good fit for the Warriors? Let's talk about what's good with Jimmy. He is a wing. He can defend. He can close out games. He's led the Heat to 2 finals appearances. He plays great defense. He can be the yin to Steph's yang. But what I don't like, $42 million a year contract. He's got an option. I think it's 50 plus. His age. And you can't have 2 unpredictable, somewhat dramatic personalities in the clubhouse. You got Draymond. You can't have Jimmy. I don't think it's going to mend well. I don't think it's going to blend well. I don't like the Jimmy trade. I don't hate the Jimmy trade either, because I think it will get them above a 6 seed, hopefully, and maybe they can get to the second round. But here's the trade that I like. Actually, no. I'm going to go to one more first. Nikolai Vukovic from USC. Big man, center, can shoot it, high efficient scorer. He can rebound. Don't know much about his defense, but he can score. He can fit into the offense. He's 34. His contract is nice, though. He's kind of right in the mid-20s, mid-30s, just what the Warriors are looking for. However, what they need is to roll the dice on a young star who's got potential, who's a wing, who can score, who's a little disgruntled, who gets with a winning culture, the Warriors' DNA, and he takes his game to the next level. We saw Andrew Wiggins step up, lead the Warriors complimentary to a title with Boston. I'm talking about Brandon Ingram from the New Orleans Pelicans. Look at the Pelicans. If it wasn't for the sorry Wizards, they would be the worst in the NBA in terms of record, in terms of opportunity, in terms of a bleak future. They've got to make a move because Ingram becomes a free agent. They can't lose him for nothing. I'm going to package Wiggins, Pods, and Kuminga for Brandon Ingram and Jordan Hawkins. Ingram, you get a 6'9" wing. He can shoot it. He can create based in the mid-game, 3-level scorer. He's another ball handler. He can help facilitate for others, average around 4 assists. I think that will go up in a more highly efficient Warriors option. His defense, that's a little bit of a concern. But the opportunity is too great. You can win now and protect the future with a budding superstar. You trade for Ingram, I think you got a Max Ingram, and I think that is the answer for the Warriors. And his sidekick, Zion. The Pelicans just got to blow it up. It's all got to be blown up. What is Zion going to do? Zion gets traded. I mean, he's got to do something with the new team. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. And I'm not talking about his weight because he's not a couple tons, but he looks a little bit like that on the internet. Zion gets moved. Is someone going to take on that risk? High risk is high reward. He's still young. They talk about the Heat, get him in the Heat culture, get him to lose some weight, get him regimented. Can he take his career to the next level? I think he's got to move. I think he needs to change the scenery. It's on him for what he wants to do now. But I like Zion in a new destination. New Orleans isn't working. All that soul food, that Korea. Listen, I'm not a big guy, but I put on 5 to 10 pounds every time I go to New Orleans. That food's too good. Imagine a young kid with millions of dollars. He's got to get out. He's got to get in the culture. He needs some vets. He needs a coach. He needs some consistency from the top to the bottom, from GM to coach to player personnel. Will a new destination help him? Can he change his career? I mean, we look at these YouTube stars. Not all these YouTube stars go on to play college basketball, go on to the NBA. He was one of the biggest YouTube stars of all time. It might be all for naught. We might not even be talking about Zion for a couple years from now unless he changes the direction of his career, he gets more serious about his conditioning, and he takes his game to the next level. He's dominant, we know that, but that's athletic ability can only take you for so long. What never leaves you is a good woman and a jump shot. I don't know if he has a good woman. I don't know if he has a jump shot, but he needs to be working on other aspects of his game. And in a new location, I think he can do it. I think he can start over, start from scratch, and get going. We're not going to already start this podcast from scratch. We're going to get it moving right now. Hello and welcome to Big Ben and K Winn on nofilter.net, YouTube. If you're watching this show live or on demand, drop your comments below. If you like audio podcasts, don't worry. We got you covered. Download, listen, subscribe. 5 stars anywhere you get your podcast. Check us out on Spotify. We've got the audio and we've got the video podcast now. I'm K Winn. Big Ben is out on paternity leave. Make sure you follow us at Big Ben K Winn _ wherever you get your social media. Today we're going to talk about NBA. Actually, I already did that. We'll talk a little college football. We'll talk NFL. We'll get into some social media mentions, and then we'll get you out of here. But before we do that, I want to tell you a little story. Theo, my 15-pound cavapoo, he had an upset stomach. So he was up at midnight, 3 a.m., 6 a.m. He had to go outside. He didn't have to go outside. He wanted to play. He's disoriented. I was disoriented because I couldn't sleep through the night. I kept getting up. This happened to back-to-back days because he had an upset stomach. So what did I do? Magic Mind to the rescue. Magic Mind's performance shot, it creates and delivers a sharper, clearer mind. It helped me get through the next day. It helped me get through work. It helped me get my attention to get on with my daily tasks. Magic Mind performance shot, I've been using it for a couple years now. And now they have a sleep elixir, 2 for 1. You've got the Magic Mind performance shot, which helps sharpen and clear the mind. And you've got the sleep elixir. It helps with getting to sleep faster and resulting into a deeper sleep. What we control going into this year is our mental health and wellness, also referred to as our mental wealth. We all can't build generational wealth, so why not build mental wealth? There are 5 key pillars in mental wealth. It is sleep, diet, exercise, stress management, and exogenous compounds. And Magic Mind is a piece of the puzzle that maps to your mental health and fitness and your mental wellness and your overall mental wealth. So act now. We've got a special promotional bundle. You get 45% off. That's right, 45% off. If you check our link, it will be in the QR code. If you want to scan that, it will be in our bio. You can also just type it in on a keyboard. It is magicmind.com/Big Ben K Winn Jan. That's magicmind.com/Big Ben K Winn Jan. And that's 45% off the performance shot and sleep elixir. Start your year right. Get going into a new world of new opportunity with mental health, fitness, wellness, and mental wealth. Orange Bowl, Cotton Bowl. It's bowling season. We've got big games coming up. I'm going to be in Cabo. It's going to be a lot warmer in Cabo than it is going to be in the Cotton Bowl. It's going to be warm in Miami, though. But before I get into these games, I want to talk about a couple things here. None of these teams won their conference championships. Therefore, none of these teams had a bye. So the conference championship, does it really matter? The committee said it was going to matter, but just like the wild card in baseball, sometimes you get hot, you stay hot, you need that momentum over rest. It's play versus rest. The teams in the field today did not have rest. They have the momentum, though. And all these coaches, James Franklin, Penn State, Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame, Sark from Texas, and Ryan Day from Ohio State, none of them have won a college football championship. So this year, we will crown a new coach who will win the national championship for college football. So where should we start? Let's go here. Orange Bowl, Thursday, January 9th in Miami. I think it's Hard Rock Stadium. I don't know. They change it too much. I can't keep up with it. We've got Penn State at Notre Dame. What will be the key to the game? I'll tell you. Notre Dame, they win in all three areas. We're talking about offense. Well, they run the ball. They don't really pass the ball, but they dominantly run the ball consistently and can control the game. Special teams, they make plays. They block punts. They return punts. They return kicks. They make plays. And defense, very stingy defense. They can lock up the run. They've got big cornerbacks. They've got a great defensive coordinator, and they've got a great defensive system. And so why is this important? Is because you need all three levels of the game to win. And they're three-headed running back with Riley Leonard. They've got Jeremiah Love, and they've got Jadarian Price. So they will run the ball, they will run the ball, and they will run the ball. If you watch the game against Georgia, I don't think Riley Leonard had over 100 yards passing. He's not going to take the top off the defense and throw the ball down the field. That's not what he's going to do. He's going to hand the ball off. He's going to look to run. There's going to be RPOs, and off of the RPOs, he's going to look for advantage throws underneath or outside with bubble screens. So I do like their offense, even though it's focused and it leans a little bit towards a lot of running. But here's why I like Notre Dame in this game. The transfer portal. That's right, the transfer portal. There's not a lot of depth out here. You had all these SEC and Big Ten teams. They had five-star after five-star after five-star recruit. They had a lot of depth. So if there's injury, next five-star up. Special teams, you had your next All-American, your next first-round draft pick in the SEC or Big Ten playing on special teams. We don't have that anymore because if you're a five-star and you're not playing, you're out of there. You go. So with that depth or lack thereof, it all comes down to special teams. And Notre Dame is great. They led the nation in blocks. I think they had 7 or 8. They lead the nation in turnover margins. We saw it in the Georgia game. Turnovers create offensive position, creates touchdowns, and they do not let the other team get into the game because they run the ball. So Notre Dame's got to keep this game in the 20s or 30s to win, which I think they can do. So I'm going Notre Dame. But what Penn State has to do with Andy Kotelnicki, the offense coordinator, came from Kansas, is stay aggressive, stay hungry. If you think back to the turning point in their season, I think it was the Big Ten championship game. They went toe-to-toe with Oregon. Offensive firepower. They used all of their weapons. They used Tyler Warren. They used Katron Allen. Singleton as well. They've got a two-headed monster in the backfield. And it's all built on Kotonicki's offensive scheme. He's aggressive. He's creative. He will challenge the DBs at least once or twice a game, which opens up the running game, which opens up his weapons. He uses them out on the perimeter and gets them into space. So I think Notre Dame's got to contain the offensive weapons. They've got to limit Tyler Warren, and they've got to figure out a way to get a couple turnovers, which I'm confident that they can do. So I'm going Notre Dame. Yeah. What's Brian Kelly doing? I don't know. I thought Notre Dame could not get to a national championship or this position because they didn't have enough NIL money. They didn't play in a conference. They weren't in a Power 5. That's why Brian Kelly had to leave. No, Brian, it's coaching. It's personnel. And Marcus Freeman has that group coached up. They are a hard-nosed team, and I like it. They're not soft like Zion's belly or Brian Kelly's pocketbook. Moving on. Where are we going next? Let's go to the Cotton Bowl. Dallas, Texas, Friday, January 10th. We've got Ohio State versus Texas. This is a big one. It reminds me of 1986 to 1990 because that was Mike Tyson's prime as a heavyweight champion of the world. He used to knock these opponents out in the first round. He had 24 first-round knockouts. He had one that lasted 30 seconds when he took down Marcus Frazier with a 5-punch combo. Ohio State offense is like a prime Mike Tyson first-round knockout. Now, you YouTubers out there and social media people, don't look at the 58-year-old retired Mike Tyson that lost to Jake Paul. That was fixed, and he's out of weight. I'm talking prime Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's punch-out. Remember it? You had the secret code to get to him. In one punch, he'd knock you out. That is Ohio State's offense. That is Ohio State's offense. Listen to this. The Buckeyes scored 14 points against Oregon in the first quarter, including a touchdown on the first drive. Against Tennessee, they scored 21 points in the first quarter, including 3. That's right, 3 scores in a row the first 3 times they had the ball. Both games were over early. So what does Texas have to do? They have to avoid getting punched in the face or avoid getting knocked out early because a lot of these games have been over against Ohio State by halftime. Some would say by the first quarter with all these weapons and explosive plays. But Texas has a chance. That's right, Longhorns fans. I'm going to talk about Texas for a little bit. They have a great defense, and their pass defense is above average as well. Probably one of the best in the country. And the strength of the Longhorns pass defense is because they have playmakers at all 3 phases. They've got a freshman by the name of Colin Simmons, dominant pass rusher. In the middle, they've got Anthony Hill at linebacker. And on the back end, they have a superstar cornerback, Jahdae Brown. So all 3 playmakers at all 3 levels. But you know what? It doesn't matter. That's right. Because Ohio State is on a roll. Ohio State looks too good. Ohio State has the 2 best players in all of college football. One is on the offensive side and one is on the defensive side. And that is going to be the reason why Ohio State wins this game and wins the Natty. I'm talking about Jeremiah Smith. He is a beast. He is a problem. Let's go through these stats. 13 catches, over 200 yards, 4 touchdowns in 2 games. His touchdowns have been all explosive plays, 20, 30, 40-yard touchdown runs. I don't think you can stop him. You can't guard him one-on-one, so man coverage is out. You can try a zone, but Chip Kelly, offensive guru, say what you want about him as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, he's moving Jeremiah in space. I said it last week. It's like these star NFL receivers. They don't exist in one spot. They're on the outside. They're on the inside. They're in the slot. There's pre-snap motions. There's fake pre-snap motions to get them the ball. You cannot stop Jeremiah Smith. And I said they have the top 1 and 2 pick in the NFL draft, if they came out this year, they're not eligible. But if they could, it was hypothetical. Jeremiah Smith would be 1. And number 2 would be Caleb Downs, the safety, the sophomore. What does he remind me of? Who does he remind me of? Ed Reed from the Ravens. Because he can make plays, baby. He can stop the run. He can take down and neutralize a tight end. He can get to the outside. He's everywhere. And those two players are the best players in college football, one on offense, one on defense. And that's why Ohio State is going to roll in this game. Now, what if Texas wins? Let's look at this. Texas wins. Huge upset. A Texas win would be a huge upset. Everyone's already penciled Ohio State in to win it. Check out the betting lines. Check out all the talking heads, including me, this talking head. Ohio State's going to win. So let's walk through this. Texas has to stay in the game to halftime, give themselves a fighting chance. They've got to run the ball. They didn't run the ball well against Arizona State, and they also didn't protect Quinn Ewers, probably because they didn't run the ball. So they got to run the ball. But if they win, whoa, Austin. I would love to be in Austin. The Texas upset would be probably one of the biggest upsets we've ever seen. The Texas upset would compare to Duke beating UNLV in 1990 in the Final Four. Well, that was a little big, but I think you know what I mean. This would be a huge upset. Probably the second biggest win in Texas football history. The biggest, 2006, when Vince Young and the Texas Longhorns beat Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Lindell White in that Natty Classic. And think about what this win will do to the Texas program. They're the only SEC team still in it. Texas wins. Transfer portal opens up. They've got more money. They've got arch. They've got momentum to do something special. And Sark can take this momentum and ride it out. Texas upset would be huge, huge. I'm not rooting for it, but it could happen. And what gets better about this game is these two teams match up next year. Last weekend in August, I think it's August 30th, and they start a home and away series. So the loser is going to have 8 months to think about this. All right, where do we go next? How much time do we have left? Let's get into a little NFL. We've got the playoffs coming up. Super wild card weekend. So as we look at the wild card, before we do that, I got to tell you who's going to win the national championship. So it's Ohio State versus Notre Dame. It's Ohio State. You already knew it. Ohio State. Ryan Day, congratulations. I'm sorry for all the slander. Maybe it used to motivate you, but you're probably going to win it all. Okay, on to football. Super wild card weekend. Styles make fights. We've got a lot of action. I don't think there will be a whole lot of upsets. We've got in the AFC, Chiefs have a bye, so we've got Bills playing the Broncos, Ravens, Steelers, Texans, Chargers. I think the Bills win against the Broncos. Buffalo's going to be cold. I think it's going to be in the 20s. So you're asking for the Broncos to fly all the way there. Rookie quarterback, first-time situation. I've got the Bills. Let's move on to the next game. Ravens, Steelers. I mean, do we even talk about that? Steelers have lost 4 or 5 games in a row. I've lost count. Russ was the answer. He's not the answer. They want to extend Russ. They might be looking for a new quarterback when it's said and done. There's no way the Ravens lose. The Ravens are a double-digit favorite. But I want to talk about Texans, Chargers. I like that game, 4 versus 5. The Texans, injuries to Tank Dell, to Diggs. They've struggled on the offensive line protecting C.J. Stroud. That's why they've struggled this year. The Chargers are going to come after them. The Chargers are going to be able to control the game. Greg Roman, what does he like to do? Big personnel, 3 tight ends, run the ball. They just picked up Zeke. They will run the ball, and they'll run the ball. They'll do a little play action off that and try to get the ball to Ladd McConkey, rookie wide receiver from Georgia, over 1,000 yards. He made plays for them. I think he'll make a couple plays. I think they'll run the ball. I think Bosa and company will get to Stroud, pressure him, and Texans just don't have enough weapons. So after that, we will have Chiefs versus Chargers, Bills versus Ravens. Moving on to the NFC, Lions have a bye. Eagles play the Packers, Bucks play the Commanders, Rams play the Vikings. Eagles, Packers. What do we know about this game? Jalen Hurts is still in concussion protocol. Saquon Barkley did not get the rushing title, but he will be playing in this game. He will be refreshed. Packers, Jordan Love left last week's game because of an elbow injury. So I think he's going to play, but that's got to be a lingering concern to the Packers, as well as his inconsistent play. The Packers have lost to the Vikings twice, the Lions twice. They lost to the Eagles in Rio. Jordan Love struggles. He's a little inconsistent in this career, and he struggles when he's pressured. I think the Eagles are going to pressure him. I think the Eagles are going to run the ball. I think the Eagles are going to be conservative. And yes, the Eagles will win this game. So move on. Bucks Commanders. We've got Baker versus Jaden Daniels. This will be a good game. This will be the best game in the NFC. What do the Bucks do well? They have a great defense. They stop the run, but their secondary is a little weak. They will focus on stopping Jaden Daniels. One can hope to contain him. I don't think you can stop him. I do like Baker's experience. I do like Mike Evans. I do like the Bucks defense. Give me the Bucks. Baker moves on, which brings them to play. Wow. It would be Eagles, Buccaneers again. Rematch. This time it would be in Philly. Baker got the Eagles last year. Sent them home early. That's got to be going to make for some good TV. We've got Rams, Vikings. Do we believe in Sam Darnold? I don't know. I did. I didn't. We'll see. Big game. A lot on the line for the Vikings. A lot on the line for Sam Darnold and his big payday. I'm going Rams. Rams are Puka dominant. Rams do have a good defense. I think they'll look at the tape. I think they'll get to Darnold. I don't think Darnold will look as bad as he did this week. But in this game, in the playoffs, I lean toward the coach, Sean McVay. I think he'll scheme something up. I think he will get Cooper Kupp more involved. Cooper Kupp is more or less turned into a blocker. So you got Cooper, you've got Puka, you've got Kyren, you've got McVay. Give me the Rams. I said it last week, Rams to the Super Bowl. I don't know if they win the Super Bowl, but I like the Rams going to the Super Bowl. So if my predictions are right, the next week we will have, wait for it, Lions versus the Rams. Ooh, revenge game. Again, Jared Goff versus Stafford, and Eagles versus Bucks. A lot of football, a lot of fun. You know what's also fun? Our social media mentions. So let's get into it. There's a lot this week, like last week. Keep adding us on social media. Keep commenting. We will read them if they make us laugh or if they are insightful. So where am I going? We are going to go to
Rodgers' last game. Do we care? Last game with the Jets.
TikTok first. So we said Aaron Rodgers, last game. NFL, maybe? Do we care? At MK Mikeman on Instagram. Hang him up. He wants him to hang up. Aaron actually looked good. Threw 4 touchdowns. Quarterback draft is okay. Cam Ward and Shador. Other than Sam Darnold, there's not a lot of great free agent quarterbacks. I don't know if he's going to hang him up. Should he hang him up? We'll see. All right. Let's get into Notre Dame. Did they silence their critics by beating Georgia? Everyone said they lost to Northern Illinois. They didn't belong. They didn't play a hard enough schedule. They did beat Texas A&M. They did beat my Fighting Trojans. So Notre Dame's critics. Let's talk about them. At Squidly Squider 2. That is right. Squidly Squider 2. Well, they silenced them. They did for the time being. One more game, one more win, and they'll silence them again. And at Michael Scott, not Michael Scott from The Office. This is prison.michael.scott on Instagram, or excuse me, Twitter. He said Notre Dame's defense showed out, and they did, and they're going to show it again. I believe in the Irish. I support the Irish. The Irish eyes will be smiling in Miami. Great weekend of college football, great weekend of NFL football. We've got college football on Thursday and Friday. We've got NFL 2 games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, 1 on Monday. I can't wait. I'll be watching from Cabo. But remember, you need to all start on working on your mental health and wellness journey today. The first step is Magic Mind. Click on the QR code, type in magicmind.com/Big Ben K Winn Jan, and you get 45% off the performance shot and the sleep elixir. It is a bundle. The performance shot helps keep sharper, cleaner energy sustained throughout the day. So if your dog has an upset stomach, if you don't sleep, you can get the energy that you need with the performance shot. And the sleep elixir, I love it. Fall asleep faster, sleep deeper. And go to magicmind.com/Big Ben K Winn Jan and get 45% off. Start your mental health and wellness journey today. Mental health equals mental wealth. I'm K Winn. Big Ben is out of here. I believe he'll be back. If he's not back, I might have to do this solo again, like Vin Scully, like Steph Curry. In non-Curry minutes with the Warriors, they need to get him some help. Solo, like Han Solo. I mean, I'll stop. The jokes could go on. It's not going to get any better. I got to get out of here. Make sure you follow us at Big Ben KWin _ anywhere you get your social media. That's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Threads, and more. If you're watching this live or on demand on YouTube, subscribe, drop your comments below. We will respond to them. And if you're more of an audio podcast, download, listen, subscribe, 5 stars anywhere you get your podcasts. Spotify, I kind of like it because you got the audio and video 2 for 1. I'm K Winn. I am out of here. Peace.